Don't know how this one's going to go. Just going to try to do a quick oil change. It's been a long day, long weekend. I've got both kids outside with me, boiling maple syrup. We're going to see how this one goes. There's like 4 videos worth of content that happened this weekend. I'm just trying to film it all, and we'll figure it out. For those of you following along, this would be the same weekend that the furnace went out. A bunch of Girl Scout activities that's going on. My wife is the cookie captain, so that takes a lot. My wife's birthday was this weekend. A lot going on. Anyway, we'll see how this one goes. Here we go. Let's try to make it happen. All right, so this is a 2010 Silverado. You'll notice some fancy wiring here. I'll go through all that someday into the dual battery system I set up with some kind of slick little features. Let me tell you real quick what I got to use. I like to use this Mobil 1 oil. You guys know I research to death everything that I use, and this Mobil 1 stuff I've found has is supposed to be really good stuff. And I use the high mileage stuff because I'm over 180,000 on my truck. I don't know if the high mileage stuff, I paid more for that. I'm also dealing with an oil leak. The oil cooler lines have been leaking. I'll show you that. We're going to try some of this stuff. Bars, oil seal stuff. I just found there's a whole bunch of different products like this. Never used one before. They all seem like, snake oil kind of stuff. They don't tell you exactly what's in them or how they work. So we'll see. This was the most expensive stuff I could find. If the stuff doesn't work, then we'll go for the cheapest stuff I can find and see if that works. We got some Berryman. I always put a can of this in my gas every time I change my oil. It just keeps the injectors clean and stuff like that. Similar to Seafoam. It's a little more popular brand, but this stuff is less expensive and based on my research, a lot better. Seafoam, for example, I've found through some research that there's a little bit of oil in Seafoam. It was originally made for outboard motors. That's why the name Seafoam. And those take mixed gas, so there's no problem with there being a little bit of oil in that additive. But for a regular car, that can over time clog up the catalytic converter, maybe follow some plugs. But in general, I'll link to a video where they compare this stuff with half a dozen other products, and this stuff just outperforms nothing else really comes close. So that's cool. And then my replacement filter is going to be a Wix. I have to shout out YouTube channel Vice Grip Garage with Derek Fiera. He swears by these Wix filters, and I've done some research and completely agree. Wix, they seem to make a really solid filter. I'm just making sure while I'm here, not seeing any evidence of new oil leaks, because it always surprises me how much there is down here. The thing is, it leaks down there, and as you're going down the road, it all sprays up over everything, so it makes it hard to figure out where the leak is from. All right, what size thingy is this? Yep, not that one. So was the smaller of the two that I grabbed, so let's go back and get another one. Every time. There it is. 13. Remind me of that for next time. Jeez. Okay. There we go. No spills, right? No spills. Oh, lots of spills. I replaced the plug with this magnetic one. I'll collect any metal that gets in there. There's a little bit. Not concerned though. That's good. Okay. Now the filter. Let's see if we can do this without getting my arm completely covered in oil. Thank you, GM, for making it so that I can't get my whole hand around this. somehow I have to just get, about, I don't know, 2/3 all the way around it, and then spraying my thumb while I'm doing it. Just letting this drip down a little bit. The more that drips into this drain pan, the less goes down my arm. So I'll always check, make sure the gasket came off with the filter. I can tell already it did. Yeah, buddy. Nope, that is not a toy. Thank you for asking. No, please don't play with it. And you're playing with it anyway. There's another thing that I learned from Vice Grip Garage. Is always pre-fill the filter. I've done some research into this too, and there's actually some debate about whether or not this is necessary, because this will get filled so quickly once the engine starts that, we're talking a fraction of a second that the engine would be without oil. Oh, and in addition, there are some types of engines where the filter is mounted on top like this, so pre-filling it would do nothing. It drains completely every time, no matter what you do, every time you shut the engine off. Well, I seem to have lost some footage of pre-filling this filter. And I really wanted you to see this part because it drives home the point I was trying to make of why I personally think it's important to do. So I probably bought this thing in like 2005. It's been on my shelf ever since. And this is just a little bit of oil that I bought by mistake at some point. So I'm not out any money to show you this. So you take a new filter and you fill it up. Fill it right up to the top. Seats to the top. And now see how far it has dropped already. You can still see it, on the top here, but down in the middle, it came all the way up to the top, and now it dropped to, I'd say it's probably about down to here right now. So now I fill it up again, up to the top. Now some air bubbles are going to come out, and it's slowly dropping down again. So now it's probably a little over half. It's probably about right here now. So we're still trying to get this filled completely. Up to the top again. See all those air bubbles coming out. Yeah, this is why, to get those membranes in there really saturated, make sure all the air pockets are out of there. This, to me, is why it's super important to pre-fill the filter. Otherwise, this is trying to happen the first time you start the vehicle. It's almost full now. Roll it around a bit. Okay, so that's probably full enough to where I would put it in the vehicle. Now I'll even add a little more still. Yeah, I'm okay not having it completely full because it's too hard to hold and get onto the vehicle without spilling otherwise. A lot of times they're installed at an angle. So yeah, see, it still even dropped quite a bit. That's how much it has to really soak in there. Yep, that's probably good. There. That's how long it takes to really get all those air pockets out of there. Now, of course, if the oil was pressurized, this would happen a lot more quickly, but still, You know, why make the engine do that? Why deprive the engine of a little bit of oil when you can do it yourself right now? Okay, gently. New filter installed. Recently broke my favorite funnel. So now I have to use this dumb little thing. Do you have a favorite funnel? Put a picture of it in the comments. I want to see it. Ugh, this is not going to go well. Okay. Oh, nailed it. All right, now for that stop leak stuff. Okay, so this stuff. Directions. Turn engine off. Check. Shake well. Remove oil fill cap. Pour oil seal and engine oil. Per dosage chart. Okay, dosage chart says 1 bottle treats from 4.5 to 7 quarts. Okay, this truck takes 6 quarts, so right in the middle of that. Drive idle engine for at least 15 minutes to mix thoroughly with oil and activate product to start working. Top off engine, add oil as needed, and leave bars, leaks, oil seal, engine oil burning, and leak repair. Wow, that's a long name. In system for continued protection. Drive vehicle as normal. Most oil loss issues are corrected in 250 miles or 3 days of driving. For best results, use with every other oil change or once per year. That's a sticker? No. Free backpack? Oh. We'll take a look at that later. Okay. So the reason I didn't put all of the oil in right away is because I would rather put this in here. I just dumped maybe a quart in there. Then I'll dump this in here and mix the rest of it. I'll shake it up in there. That way this is more diluted, distributed right away. Ow. Almost poured it in there. But shake first. Nailed it. Okay. Oh! Well, there goes that. Oil all down the header. Fine. Wasn't already smelling burning oil every day. Better funnel would have prevented that. All right. Maybe a half a quart or so left in there. Let's let that settle for a minute and then we'll check it. All right, let's see where this is at. I should easily take this whole thing, even after we added a half a quart of that stuff to it, but wow, I can't see anything. I just turned on that light, that floodlight. Now everything in the engine bay is dark. Here we go. Maple syrup's about to boil over. Oh, there's a lot of spilled oil. Bummer. Yeah, it's down to the bottom notch on the stick. Put the rest of this in there. Should be about perfect. So this is one of those things that might be cheaper to take to a Jiffy Lube or something. Definitely quicker. All this stuff to buy it today was almost $100. That stop leak oil leak stuff was about 25 by itself. So it's not normally quite so expensive, but still, you could, for about half that, you can get an oil change at one of those quick lube places. But they don't give you very many choices on what kind of oil to use. You don't get to see the oil. You don't get to check and see if there's any metal on that drain plug. All those little diagnostic things that just stick in the back of your head for the next time something fails. That to me is worth it. And I just like, I like doing this myself. I like getting my hands dirty. So let's check this one more time. Yeah, perfect. Right to the top of where it says don't fill me anymore. Okay, let's start it up. It said to idle for 15 minutes, so let's get that going. Just before I start this up, we might as well reset the oil life meter thingy. I do like to use that other than going by strict mileage, because supposedly the computer will take into account RPMs, not just mileage, so any idle time and stuff like that will be taken into effect, I think. Maybe there's some GM people that know better. But anyway, you just turn the key to the run position, hit the gas pedal 3 times, and that should do it. It's weird because there's never any confirmation or anything, but let's turn it off again and see if that did it. Yep, I did it. Start it up. Immediately after I started, after an oil change, I always like to look underneath, just make sure that no oil starts spraying out or anything. And it looks good. Look at all that oil burning off. It smells terrible. Okay, let's finish up here by just taking a little closer look at this oil and dump it into this 5-gallon bucket. That's what I do with it. I've got this 5-gallon bucket, and every time I change my oil, I just dump the old stuff into here. And when this fills up, you can take it to any auto parts store, and they will recycle it for you. Oh boy. Well, looks like we're going to go to an auto parts store and have this recycled. So, that's cool. New plan, new bucket. This is the bucket I usually like to use for anything other than oil, like transmission fluid or coolant, stuff like that. But that's what we got. I'm not the greatest at reading oil or whatever. This doesn't look blacker than black or anything, but I am seeing some metal in here. It's just like a little sparkle is kind of what you can see in there. Definitely smells like gas, like any kind of a 2-cycle engine, like a snowmobile, something like that. Has a very distinct odor to the exhaust. That's what this smells like. Yeah, you can actually have your oil. You take it to a parts store, and they can analyze your oil and tell you, oh yeah, there's a bunch of metal in there. There's if there's coolant in there, they can tell you that. Kind of give you a better idea of how your engine's going. I should do that actually, based on this. This is not looking the greatest to me. Well, it is 2 weeks later, and when I got home yesterday, I put this piece of cardboard under the truck, see how the oil leak's doing, and we're still leaking quite a bit of oil. So that's a bummer. Apparently that stuff is not going to work for us. I don't know if maybe it's the particular spot it's leaking from. I don't really know how that stuff works. but it's not working. Let's see where the oil. See if we lost a bunch or not. It's never really dropped that much, half a quart a month kind of a thing. But I'm gonna take a trip up north next week, so yeah, it's at the bottom of the line now. I'm gonna have to add some. Oh, bummer, man. Uh, Here, I'll get you guys closer. Maybe I can show you exactly where it's leaking. Okay, so where is it? Right down there. Right there. Those are the oil cooler lines, and that is where it seems to be leaking from. And I got some high heat JB Weld and tried to patch it up with that, and that did not work. Might be a lost cause. Maybe I'll drive it a bit longer. I haven't been driving much lately, just doing from work. So maybe that stuff needs some more miles under it to get going. But to get those lines replaced, I've already replaced them once. Just let's see, like 5 years ago, 6 years maybe. And it's a big job. You either have to drop the front differential or the motor mount on this side. And last time I did it, I dropped the motor mount, which also meant removing the steering shaft. It was a big job, and it's one that I'm not going to do again. Not with how old and how many miles are on this truck. I think it's a better bet just to keep adding oil at this point. It does seem like it's better though. It doesn't immediately drip. If I just go to the grocery store and back, I don't see any drips under it when I get out of the store like I used to. So maybe it's a little better. But anyway, that's where we're at. Here's another upcoming project. I'd like to reseal this driveway. I've resealed driveways before, a couple back in high school anyway, but this one is pretty far gone. I'm not really sure if it's worth it. We are going to redo this at some point. I want to make this a circle drive. Just thinking about the size of our driveway right now, and then once the kids start driving, and who knows, maybe I'll get a boat at some point. Where we're going to put all this stuff, so we need more space. But that's a long ways away. So for now, I'd like to make this one last as long as possible. We got some moss growing through. It's had these patches done to it in the past. So just wondering, what do I need to watch out for? Is it is it already a lost cause? I'm guessing it couldn't hurt, but I don't know. What would you do in this case? Show you a bit more of it. Yeah. Let me know what you think.